Thanks a lot. And you are hearing for a long time, so I think you have enough energy to hear about solutions and how we can execute this entire policy, correct? The panel discussion, just what happened, has made my job a little bit easier because all panelists has touched upon some bits and pieces, all what I will talk about. Let me try to structure it. Whatever we are discussing, let me try to give a structure and how technology can help to basically achieve those goals, correct? The ESG goals. Let me try that how we can, make it more structured approach to that. One of the important aspect is sustainability. ROI of sustainability is two aspects. One is the social ROI. Another one is the company who is executing his own ROI, return of investment. There is no doubt, everybody is very clear about social ROI. There is no preamble required to see the ROI on the society, planet and people. So we don't have to doubt in that. But when we talked about ROI to a particular company who is basically bringing sustainability practice in their organization, then people are not very clear about what ROI, how I will calculate the ROI itself. Because this is very, very volatile, very overarching topic, the sustainability. So now SAP is always actually believe to basically imbibe all those latest technology and give the business, solution to business problem. So if you talked about green line, that is what we are talking about, is as important as the bottom line or top line. It is more important rather than if you think about society, our planet part of it. It's not working, yeah. So if we want to calculate ROI of sustainability, there are mainly four aspects of it. One is the revenue side of it, one is the cost side of it, another one is the employee side of it, and lastly, it is very important aspect is risks and compliance. These are the four aspects you can think of from the sustainability ROI perspective. So when somebody talks about how I will inbuild the sustainability part of our entire revenue aspect, you imagine that we as a company we are providing is extra layer of service, whatever we are delivering as a product or service, extra layer of service, kind of value added service you imagine to the society. That extra layer of service is the sustainable practices. So we are sustainable, we are bringing the product to you in a sustainable way, the manufacturing process, sourcing process, procurement process, everything is sustainable. So we are giving an incremental value to the society, to you, because it impacts everyone. So people are ready to give this value. Really, actually consumers and customers are giving lot of value to this kind of value-added service if you think from the customer point of view. Customer is very aware of it, and whenever I buy any product, I check that it is a sustainable product or not. What is the carbon footprint? Everybody. So you have, they value the sustainable part of it. So 79% of buyers are changing preferences based on the sustainability. That is a, research, output. So it has a revenue impact. So the biggest ROI of sustainability is trust. Your brand protection, how people look at your brand. So if you want to enhance the brand reputation, if you want to protect the brand, this is the best way. If you Google search now sustainable products, so many companies are basically contributing. How much they are doing it, that is a lack of trust, correct? Lack of transparency. One report I was looking at, most of the people, 80% of the people don't believe what annual report claims from the sustainable point of view. Their technology comes into picture. They will give the data-driven input that whatever is claimed in the annual report is actually they are delivering it. Okay. So that part of it. Second part is 50% of investors. They are telling that whatever assets you are building, that should be sustainable. That should be actually. There are a lot of pressures coming from customer, then investor, then employees, everybody. Employee part of it. it has been shown 90% of employees are very proud of working for a company who is basically, they have inbuilt sustainable practices. They produce sustainable product. They value people. So as a SAP employee, we have an unfiltered survey to check the employee pulse. One question I just remember, that if you have a similar kind of benefits pay package from another company, we will go for it or not. I always, I have more than, around 15 years in SAP, I always gave no, the answer. And I asked myself that why. And if you say the average retention in SAP is more than 10 years, I think it will be more than 15 years even. So why people are sticking to SAP? It is only pay, only something. I asked myself, and I have, gave my answer that SAP is always believes in people, diversity, inclusion, sustainable practice. If you go to SAP labs, you can see amazing things, and SAP is taking sustainability as a company, as an example, very, very seriously. So one of the reason I am sticking to that, I am very proud of, working with SAP. Okay. Then lastly, regulators. Regulators is the part of the risks and compliance part. Okay. From the CFO perspective, there are more than 80 ESG financial risks you have to adhere. So the regulation is, giving you the pressure that you have to be compliant with sustainable practices. Okay. And lastly, 70% EBITDA could be stake from the sustainability challenges. So all the CFOs are very, very clear that they have to abide by all those things. One is the mandate part of it. Another part is the revenue protection. Revenue, you can claim extra premium because of the sustainable product. Another part, people forget the cost. So if you do the recycle, reuse product, then definitely there is a cost implication. And in terms of product, there are a lot of practices actually reduce the cost. So you can increase the revenue, you can decrease the cost, and you can also, avoid all the penalties, everything, from the regulation. So it has a huge, ROI. People always think, if I go for a, sustainable practice, there are a lot of infrastructure I have to build, there are so much cost. Definitely, but the cost is actually decreasing nowadays. If you see the recycling technology, repurposing technology is booming. And the cost of that, because of the scale now they are into, the cost, unit cost is decreasing day by day. The recycling cost, refurbishing cost, reusing cost. So there is a definitely, you can actually reduce the cost of material, reduce the travel cost. From the Concur, you will get lot of, people are avoiding the travel, going to optimizing the travel plan, everything. You can reduce the travel cost. So there is a cost implication, there is a revenue implication, there is a risks and compliance part of it. And your biggest asset is the employee. You can retain your employees, you can give, pride in employees, retain more, good employees, because employee retention is a big cost. Even employee, if the attrition is high, rehiring, it is a huge cost. Okay. Now coming to that, how I can structure, this is a big mandate, correct? How I can structure this, there are 3 steps we can do. Record, report, act. Many people has talked about this, I will not get into much details. You have to record all the transactions, you have to report, and based on the report, you have to act. So now, SAP has actually, how we can handle this entire requirement, we break it down. So we have created 3 pillars: zero waste, zero emissions, zero waste, and zero inequality. And on top of that, we have a holistic steering committee or reporting layer, which can give you the all ESG parameters. Almost more than 600 ESG formats are available currently. We actually adhere to most of the prominent ESG format report KPIs. Readily you can get all those KPIs out of your ERP system and also other system like product footprint, carbon emission details, everything. So people are not very clear about how I will get all those data, correct? This is not a one department's job. It is the entire company's job. Not only that, in some of the cases, you have to go beyond your organization boundary. It is a value chain because the product you are getting from someone, and that has a carbon footprint details. So I have to capture everything. When I am delivering to the end user, it should have the total product footprint or carbon footprint details. Okay. So now, why SAP? SAP is one of the reason is the comprehensive portfolio which cater to all the ESG categories, whether environment, whether product footprint, and whether people. All the aspect it covers holistically, and it has a deep integration with your transactional system, that is called ERP system, because ultimately you have to get the data from there. Ultimately, it should go back to your financial systems to report into the IFRS system how much the accounting part of that. And definitely last part is the industry part of it. This is very important, like Catena X, the automotive industry, they have standards, they have different industry specific content. We are also building industry specific solution for the sustainability part of it. So one is the vanilla solution, industry specific solution, it is integrated your backend, and you have a full reporting, transactional, and your action point of view, all the different areas we have the solution. Now coming to your offering, that each of these areas we have solution. I will come to one area because it impacts sales, spend everywhere, manufacturing everywhere. I will talk about little bit more on the spend analysis part of it. So we have a sustainable strategic sourcing part, we have a sustainable procure to payment, and lastly sustainable supplier and risk management part. So in the interest of time, I will talk about spend management little bit, but we have a solution in sales area, manufacturing area, everywhere. Okay. So in the sustainable, supply risks and management, this actually helps you to basically check that whoever your supplier, they are compliant with sustainable measures, whether they are basically building their products sustainably, they are treating people equally, whether they have a required certificate, everything. So we have a partner ecosystems which provides all the different certification. For an example, we have EcoVadis, we have Integrate Next and T-Books, all the different partners give them different certificates from the sustainability score perspective. When you are managing your supplier, onboarding your supplier, you can check all the aspect of sustainable things, that whether I am sourcing the from the suppliers who are sustainable or not, because that impacts my sustainability as well. Then Ariba sustainable strategic sourcing part of it, when we are carrying out the tendering part, you can actually put lot of pre-qualification from the sustainability point of view. Do have this certificate, do actually practice this kind of sustainable things, do get into forced labor, or there is a child abuse, or maybe you are not using sustainable ingredients, for an example. All the prerequisite or pre-qualification criteria, you can put it into the tender. This is built in, and whenever you are scoring and selecting a particular supplier, you can choose the right suppliers who are sustainable in nature. There is no risks from the sustainability point of view, either financial risks, whether labor law in terms of how they are treating the people, whether there is a fair trade practice they are doing. All those policies, everything you can check, and then ongoing basis, the risks part, supplier risks actually gives the notification. If there is we crawl more than 9 lakhs website about the suppliers, whether supplier defaulted something, and give you a supplier score, risk score to you in the dashboard, so whether your supplier is compliant with all the policies or not. Okay. And lastly, I will talk about procurement part of it. When I am as a buyer inside, whether organizational buyer or employee buyer, I am procuring, you can make sure, you can make a policy of sustainable procurement. You can buy from this product only because those are the sustainable in nature. Each and every time whenever you are procuring, it gives an option like Concur. It gives all the travel options with emission details, for an example. So in terms of the manufacturing, it gives the carbon footprint for the particular product. Then you can take a call. Okay. And this is very important. This is based on a blockchain based technology. This is going beyond your organization. It gives the exact product genealogy of the end product. So when you are procuring some ingredients from multiple parties, coming to one manufacturer is value adding or assembling, then it is going to another party or maybe dealer or somewhere, and then end user. It actually captures all the information right from the raw material sources, vendors. It is a blockchain-based, cloud-based solution, captures all the carbon footprint details, all the sustainability parameters, everything. Every parties in the value chain will add the value, and at the end of that, the OEM can see what is my product genealogy. What are the different raw materials, ingredients has come from which country, what is the origin of the country, what are the carbon footprint details, whether they have all the sustainable certificates or not. And end user, you can give a QR code. Whenever somebody is click that QR code, scan the QR code, he can see that how this product has been made. Okay, what is the genealogy of the product, to be sure, because this is data driven. And nobody can tamper, because it is based on the blockchain based technology. Nobody can tamper any data. So this is called material traceability solution we are providing. So it is not only, it ensures that you are practicing the sustainable practice, your entire ecosystem, the entire value chain. So it helps the brand owner, the OEM, to protect the brand. Imagine we have implemented at some place food industry. The food industry is, the fishing is happening in some, Pacific Ocean, some Indonesian countries, but the food is going to US. So when on the table he can scan that particular QR code, he can see that how this fish has been catched. What are the parameters, whether that company has maintained the fair trade or not. So all the information, and it is all certified. Nobody can actually say that this is wrong, correct? So this kind of trust, it can give the trust to the end consumer that yes, it has been made sustainably. And lastly, this one is the Concur part of it. It has been talked about during the planning, shopping, booking, expense, everywhere. The sustainable, all the measures, KPIs, emission details, everything will be given to the user to take a call to optimize his travel, so that entire, travel you cannot avoid, correct? But you can reduce the travel cost, you can reduce the carbon emission if you have all the data. And that goes back to your reporting. Then somebody can actually make a policy that, okay, this area probably our carbon footprint is increased, emission level is increased, so I need to change the policy. And then again in the Concur, you can actually put it into a practice and you can check it, that loop is going on. So this is very important from the overall sustainability perspective. So this is one example how you can actually go on top. So as is, so you are as a maturity, that how organization can mature along the line. So you can start with as is ESG reporting. Whatever solution, SAP solution you are building, we have the capability that what is your ESG score currently as is, correct? Then you can go for a build of trusted governance. So you can build a governance model. So we are not only giving the solution, we also actually give all the tools and methodology to execute that. Okay, we are always along because there is a huge change management, correct? Organization needs a lot of help, consulting help, handholding. So we give a direction that how we can go towards the excellence in terms of sustainability. Then you can see from average to actual. So nowadays, the reporting happens based on the average because people don't have the nitty-gritties. Now you can report from average to actuals, how it is happening, because all the transactional data you have, and we have tools to get it and give the reports based on the actual, how it is happening. You don't have to, basically make it an average or something like that. Then it goes into different levels of business operation level, business process operation changes, re-engineering part of it. Then it goes to ESG numbers, and ultimately the mindset change of the entire organization. That is the ultimate goal, that in every practice, in every transactions, how we can think about the sustainability should drive the entire process, correct? because it impacts everyone. And these are some use cases. In interest of time, it is already time is up. This is for supply chain, because supply chain cost from the overall carbon footprint 10 times more than operational cost, operational carbon emission or something. So supply chain, the logistics cost is the 10 times more than whatever you are internally doing it. So supply chain is very important aspect, and the procurement, definitely the sustainable sourcing, sustainable procurement process. This is the use case we delivered. Then there is a CFO's perspective, how I can get all the data, my 60 or 80 parameters of financial risks associated to ESG, I can see it, I can pinpoint, then I can actually do my policy changes and then get the report again. Okay, lastly, these are different sustainable, because sustainable solution we cannot give without any partner ecosystem. There are a lot of people are involved in terms of thought leadership, in terms of partner who will implement, global strategic service partners, and also there are a lot of certificates, ESG certificate or sustainability scores, everything. So all the partners, we are working together to give a solution to all the businesses. This is not, yeah. So SAP definitely, we have a, most of the companies have, target to go to zero emission in 2050, but SAP has a target that we will go zero waste, zero emission 2030. So it is 2 years ahead of things, and it is achievable. The way SAP is going towards that, it is absolutely achievable. We will achieve zero waste. Zero waste means all the e-products, because we are in that area, and zero emission will go by 2030. So that is our target. We have 100, battery driven cars inside our campus. We have solar panel. So mostly 92.5% of energy comes from green energy, And then we have almost 100% water we utilize gets into recycled mode, and 65% of water is basically recycled water we use inside. So all the water lists, toilets, everything is there. So there is a huge importance in the diversity, inclusion, and this kind of sustainable measures. So as in, we always lead by example. We implemented all this solution. And practicing, there are two types of infrastructure we need. One is the physical infrastructure, one is the digital infrastructure. Without digital infrastructure, your physical infrastructure cannot actually provide the reports, everything together. So we are going by that. Lastly, what is the next step you can go for? We can have a joint sustainability session, because it is a very, very broad topic, and we can understand your objectives. Then we can explain our solution, demo it, then probably we can map it out, and then we can create a transformation journey, because you need a lot of change management, you need a lot of guidance. So jointly we can create a transformation journey towards the zero emission, zero waste, and zero inequality. Thank you.